Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to the lecture. In this lecture, we will see how to place the footing mesh, how we have to understand that, what is the importance of a cover block. All these things we are going to look into this lecture. So far, what we had done, we had understood how to make the column marking on the PCC. So next is cutting of rebar for the footing mesh and bar bending schedule before the start of the work. So what I'm trying to tell, see, after that, after all these things of works are done, we have to prepare a footing mesh something like this. To prepare a footing mesh something like this, we need to cut the bars. These are the standard length of the bar what you get in the market. You have to do the cutting of that, and you'll be having a bar bending schedule add. In that particular yard, you are going to cut the bar. I mean, the bar bender are going to cut the bar, and you can see the footing mesh is kept ready here, and this is the column reinforcement. So all these things you have to prepare and keep. And also, what should be the cutting length of your bar? All those things you have to prepare a bar bending schedule, and based on that, these bar benders are going to cut the bar. Yeah, so you can see here all the footings we have done the excavation. If you remember, then we have done the PCC. Again, you can see this center line marking they have done, so that they can drop the plumb bob and they can mark the column center. Now you can see a footing mesh kept here. They already prepared the mesh, but they brought it here, and then they are going to keep it inside this particular footing. So you can see it here also. Here you can see the footing mesh, and also you can see the column reinforcement, right? So this is how the column reinforcement is prepared. Yeah, so we'll try to understand this. That is the placing of footing mesh. So you can see this guy, how they have kept the footing mesh here, and also they have kept something here that is called as cover block. We'll see that. Once the PCC is done, the next task is to keep the footing mesh over the PCC. The bar bender will make this mesh ready at its place, and it will be carried to the site. Wherever is a bar bending schedule yard, they're going to prepare it, and from there they're going to carry it to the site where you're supposed to do. Otherwise, sometimes what happens is that directly this mesh you are going to prepare it on the site itself. You will not prepare that in a bar bending schedule yard. If it is a huge reinforcement and all, we'll prepare the mesh here. These people will be sitting here, and on the PCC itself they are going to do the footing mesh. The site engineer must make sure that the cover blocks are provided before laying the footing reinforcement mesh. The rebar's reinforcement mesh is correctly spaced, and the diameters of the bar used is according to the drawings. That means, so as I mentioned, you can see a cover block here, and also let us say you are a site engineer, you should make sure whatever reinforcement they are using. Let us say in the drawing it was mentioned that you have to provide a 12 diameter bar. So to make sure exactly whether the 12 diameter bar is being used or not. Also, the spacing between the two bar, it will be written like you have to provide a 12 diameter bar at 150 center to center spacing. To make sure exactly whether the 150 center to center spacing is being practically executed at the site or not. So as a site engineer, all these are your duty to be carried out. Yeah, the cover for the footing is 50 mm. Now you can get an overall picture here. So they have prepared a footing mesh here. These are the cover blocks, the one what this guy has kept it here, isn't it? So this is a plain cement concrete, and all these are your cover blocks, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these are the cover block, and this height of the cover block, it has to be 50 mm. Yeah, you can see here two things. See, so on the right side, whatever picture you can see, that is a right way of doing, because you can see the footing mesh placed and the cover block has been placed. This is also right way, the mesh has been placed properly, but these people are not using the cover block. We get some a kind of a stone here. Okay, they have kept the stone here, but again in the local construction, what I told, this is how the people practice. They don't give the cover block, which is not the right way to do. So if you are a site engineer, or let us say if there is any construction happening under your supervision, make sure that you are using a cover block. Of course, some money will go in bringing this cover block, but that is a right way of practicing. Okay, so make sure that you are using a cover block and not the kind of a stone, something like this. So most of the construction we are using this kind of stone if it is a local construction, so we will not allow that to happen. Yeah, so now you can get an overall picture here. All the footing mesh has been placed here, and that is how it looks finally. Yeah, next coming to the cover. So we'll see what exactly this cover is. Yeah, you can see the cover block here, isn't it? So we'll try to understand that. So why this cover block is to be given? First, we'll try to understand. So the cover block is given from the durability point of view. So cover are provided to safeguard the concrete from corrosion. The second is that from the fire resistance, especially in case of the column. and then to provide a bond between the concrete and the reinforcement. See what will happen if you don't provide this cover block. You can see a cover block. I have a cover block with me. So the same thing, you can see it on the screen also. This is that cover block, and on the cover block all those things will be written. You can see some number written here, 20, 25. We have a 50 written here, then we have a 20 written here. So based on the different structural elements, we are going to use it. For example, let us say they have written it 50 here, isn't it? Now I'll be searching for a 50 number here. So let us say I have a 50 here. They have written 50 here. So whenever I place the reinforcement for the footing, this, let us say this is my PCC. Over the PCC, I'm going to place it in this way. Over the PCC, I'm going to place my cover block. So this will be my 50 mm. And over that, whatever is your reinforcement mesh, right? So let me use it. So let us say this is my reinforcement mesh. I'm going to keep my reinforcement mesh over this. Okay. Now understand this gap, what I'm maintaining from here to here. This is 50 mm in case of a footing. Now, if you don't give this cover block, what will happen? Let us say you're not giving a cover block. If you directly place this rebar over the PCC, then maybe tomorrow if your PCC comes in contact with the water, then what will happen? All the water will come in contact with this rebar directly. So if water comes in contact with this, the corrosion is going to happen. If the corrosion is going to happen, then the durability of your structure is going to come down. That is why the covers are provided from corrosion point of view. Fire resistance in the sense, sometimes usually in the column, again in column also we have to provide the cover block. Now let us say this particular footing what I had kept it, like okay, there's a fire in that. So the moment there's a fire, first the fire will attract, or the first fire will be attracted to the concrete surfaces, and once the concrete surfaces catches the fire, immediately it will transfer to the rebar, and the moment the steel catches the fire, suddenly it's going to fail. Okay, so if I give a cover block in this way, and if I keep it in this way, okay, and let us say that this is my PCC. If the fire catches to the PCC, at least I'll have this much area for the fire to come up and then catch it here, right? So again, from fire resistance point of view, we are going to give. If I don't give a cover block, and if my rebar was directly in contact with this PCC, the moment the PCC catches the fire, let us say, what will happen? Directly your rebar is exposed. Suddenly it will not take much time for the fire to catch it to the steel. So that is why by providing this kind of cover block, what will happen? You are giving that enough time. And usually this is practice for the columns, because columns are critical elements for us. So moment if the column catches the fire, and if column fails, the entire structure will come down. For the footing, nothing is going to happen. Okay. Next, third is to provide a bond between the concrete and the reinforcement. Again, for the very same reason, if I give this cover block, and over that if I keep this, and when I pour the concrete, what will happen? So there's a gap between your PCC and there's a gap between the rebar and the concrete. So the bond between them will be very good. Okay, this much the bonding will be very good. If you don't give the cover block, if you directly keep it here, what will happen? Your concrete will be on the top. You are going to get the concrete on the sides. But in this portion, your concrete will not go, because you don't have any gap only, right? You don't have any gap here. So that is why if you give a cover block, and then if you keep your rebar over that, now if you put a concrete, you can see there's a gap here. Your concrete will go here, right? And if your concrete goes here, there's a good bonding between them. So that is also that is the importance of providing the cover block, right? I hope you got an idea. Now, if you refer to clause 26.4.2 on the table section of IS 456, this is what the code says, that for the footings, you have to provide minimum 50 mm. That is, this is a cover block what you're supposed to provide. And over this, you have to keep your reinforcement bar. So in this way, you can keep your reinforcement bar. So this gap what you're going to maintain, so that will be 50 mm for us. So this will be 50 mm for us. Okay. Yeah. Second point, if it is a beam, then you're supposed to give 25 mm. If it is a column, you're supposed to give 40 mm. If it is a slab, you're supposed to give 20 mm. Staircase, it can be 15 to 20 mm. If it is a water tank, you have to give 45 mm. So whatever they have mentioned it here, no, the same you can see 25, 20, and then we have 15 and so on. So whatever is the element, based on that, we are either if it is footing, we'll keep like this. If it is beam, I'm going to keep it like this. So here it is 20 is written. If it is a slab, it is 20. I'll keep it in this way. My rebar will come over this, right? So that is the importance of providing a cover block, and always we have to provide the cover block. I hope you have got an idea. So next is placing of column reinforcement. You can see a lot of column, they have kept it ready. how this column are prepared, you can see in the bar bending schedule and you'll be tying the column in this way. I'll show you a practical video for this, how it has to be done. Just look into the image now. So in this way, you are preparing the column reinforcement. Okay, so you can see here how they are prepared. So normal way, this is how they try to keep two plywood pieces, and not the plywood pieces. They're going to keep two runners, and then they're going to pass the rebar, and through that they're going to do all the marking on this, and with the help of that we are going to prepare the column reinforcement in this way. So already they have prepared it here. Okay, yeah. So finally, this is a PCC what we had done, and you can see how this guy is keeping the reinforcement over there. So this marking whatever we have done, no, exactly on that only this guy is going to keep the column reinforcement. So you can see this is how it has been done. Okay, they are going to carry it in this way, and then you can see these guys are also carrying it. I'm showing you different images, okay, from different sides. So they'll carry it in this way, and finally you can see how they have placed it here. Okay, so you can see this is the image, this is particular site what we are looking for, isn't it, where we have done all the PCC marking and all those things. And you see how they have kept the column reinforcement here. You can see the cover blocks also, they have kept it, right? I forget about the top reinforcement here. Don't get confused here. Just look into the bottom reinforcement. Don't look into the how many steels and all are given. We'll try to understand that. Now try to understand how the column reinforcement have been given. So this is that complete site where we are looking. All the reinforcement, you have kept it ready. You can see the reinforcement here, and also the bottom reinforcement. You can see that is the footing mesh. Okay, so in some of the sites what will happen, we are not going to prepare the column. If it is a small column, we can prepare it and then we can carry it. But if it's a very huge column, if it is a pedestal, like let us say 700 by 700, if the size of the column is 700 by 700, then the reinforcement will be very heavy. So you cannot prepare the column and bring it. It's a very difficult task. So what people do, they bring all the reinforcement on the site itself, and you can see these guys, they are preparing the, see, you can see this column reinforcement here, isn't it? See, this is a L shape what they are given. This is your column reinforcement what you have. So directly what they are going to do, directly they are going to prepare that particular column reinforcement or column cage on the site itself. You can see this is how they are prepared. I'll show you a video for this also, how this is practically done. Now up to here your concepts are clear, and we know how the sequence of construction has happened right from the cleaning up to here. Now one question may come in your mind. Whatever I shown, see, this is your column, this is your footing mesh, and this is your column reinforcement. How do you understand which diameter of the bar you are supposed to give here? What is the spacing you need to keep in between the two mesh? How many reinforcement you have to give in the column? How to understand this? What is the lateral ties? What is the spacing between these two lateral ties? Where it is written? How to understand all those things? So in the next lecture, we'll try to understand how all these things has to be understood. I hope up to here your concepts are clear. So in the next lecture, I'll be explaining you with the help of a structural drawing how all this column reinforcement has to be understood. Yeah. So we'll see you back in the next lecture. Thank you.